As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to episode 28 of Zero to Hero. Today we have an awesome guest. We are joined by the CEO of No Solutions Productions, Esai Moreno. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Kevin Kwok and Esai Moreno.
How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Esai? Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little more about No Solutions Production before we get started.
No Solutions Productions is we've kind of readjusted our business a few times. We're in the first 8 months of our business. So we started out and we are doing all digital media and pretty much specializing in three main things. And that was photography, videography, and then podcast production. So along the lines, we're figuring things out, and what we're coming to find out is that we're trying to stick to just podcast production as our main thing, and then we'll still do videography and photography, but we actually are learning to outsource that and kind of subcontracting that to other companies. So we're kind of working with other companies as well to kind of build the community a little bit. But yeah, so the main thing we do is podcast production as of now.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we do our share of production as well because we're a digital marketing agency, full stack. So yeah, that's awesome. You always have to find your niche, right? What your strength is, and I think that's smart. But let's not talk about your production company. Let's focus on Esai today. Yeah. So in a couple of sentences, give me your elevator pitch about you.
Okay. So I would say that at a young age, I found out what my purpose was. And that purpose was to help elevate the people around me and to bring the best out of all the people around me. So I would say that I'm a person who, I try to make the people that are brought into my life the best versions of themselves, and in turn that helps me become a better version of myself. So
that's awesome. So I know Chuck connected with one cup, morning cup, and so tell us how you two connected.
I met Chuck back in, I want to say 2008, around that time. I was a young kid. I was 10 years old. Okay. And I met him through boxing. His son and me, my brother, and my oldest sister, we all boxed at Turner Boxing Academy.
Okay.
And so after that, back around 2011, my father opened up his own boxing club, and Chuck and his family they followed us to that gym, and they were very involved. His son was still boxing. Chuck was helping coaching, and we kind of just kept a relationship ever since. More of like a family, But yeah, that was
awesome.
way back when. Yeah.
So, so tell me about your social media journey. What's it been like? So the name of the show is Zero to Hero. The reason is we all start at zero, no matter in life, in career, or social media, right? So what has it been like for you?
So social media, I really haven't been too big on social media. Like throughout the years growing up, it was more just family and friends, and I have a giant family, so I've always been really involved in like sharing pictures of the family and just stuff like that. But as far as for the company goes, social media has been a very important part of our pushing our podcast. And it wasn't until I hired our digital, not digital, our director of marketing and development. Her name's Lauren Sylvester. She graduated from KU with a major in marketing, and she's the one that helped us kind of push the company in the right direction as far as social media goes. So she ended up taking
That's
our social
awesome.
medias from like 2,000 views, and that was over the span of a few months, to just over a couple months. She took us from that 2,000 all the way to like 50,000. So here, 1 second. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
I apologize. Sorry, sorry about that. But
No
yeah,
problem.
so she helped us reach thousands more people. So that's kind of where we're at now.
So for the people on watching the show, and also startups or businesses owners, how important do you feel social media plays a part?
Nowadays, I feel it's very important because right now there's a trend going on with all social media platforms, and this is kind of because of TikTok. So the other social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, they all saw what TikTok, the power that it had with their short clips and those quick minute videos. And so as you saw, YouTube, they created shorts, Instagram, they created reels, and that kind of is pushing uh the algorithm to pick up on just those portions of the social media sites. So like for instance, YouTube, when you're posting a video, your subscribers are really going to see that. It'll get pushed out around here and there to like the subscribers friends and whatnot, but the reels and the shorts, they're getting pushed out everywhere as long as you're using the right
Yep.
hashtags and whatnot. And I think that really changed the game for social media. So
No, that's great. It's right there. So Esai, he does video production and also does a lot of different podcasts, right? And that's so key, right? As a digital agency, we talk about
yeah,
like the attention span shorter nowadays because we're used
yeah,
to a different way of digest content. So it's so important, short clips. And a lot of times, I think as business owners, especially those who are not Gen Zs, they don't understand the power of it. Oh, it's just my kids doing TikTok or my
right,
nephew and stuff. But if you use it correctly, pair with the right creativity and the value points, that's
yep,
how even adults consuming content, right? I
yeah,
mean, how
no,
often you get home from work and you get caught in looking at those short,
right.
reels and stories, and
The
yeah.
TikTok rabbit
So
holes, yeah.
yeah. So every superhero has a defining moment. What is yours when it comes to life and career?
Uh, you know, I I couldn't I couldn't say that I've had one. I don't think I have yet. I think there will be a time, but as of now, I can't think of like a defining moment. But opening up the studio was a pretty big deal for me and my team because it was this whole thing, like my whole business started out as just us doing a podcast in my basement. And so going from that, doing it with my cousin Marcos Garcia and my sister Maria Moreno, sh- they were the team coming into it. So like they're still owners to this day. And I think the crazy moment was seeing our building being opened, having 3 studios in it, being able to produce podcasts for other people, because that was kind of like the dream back in 2020 when we started the podcast. we got like super great reviews on it. And people were like, "What studio are you in? What studio? Where are you recording this?" And we were like, "Oh, it's just in my basement, actually." But thank you, you know. And so at that
So what was
moment,
your podcast about when you first started?
it was really just about sharing other people around Kansas City, people
Okay.
that were unique. They had special talents. They did, you know, they were working on things that other people just don't do. You know, so it was really just sharing people to the world. You know, and we
Right.
talked about everything, anything, and
So
everything.
do you guys still do that podcast?
We actually stopped it in the middle of this year because we just picked up more podcasts, and like right now we have 4 weekly podcasts that we put out for other people. Well, they're actually, so we own the shows, but we pretty much hire hosts. And then the way
That
we
makes
use it for our
sense.
business, yeah, the way we use it for our business is um, we pretty much find a exclusive sponsor for each podcast that will help that sponsor in the best way possible. So it's like kind of we're gonna pair a sponsor with the right podcast, so they get a return on their investment. You know.
Got it. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Awesome. So what are the attributes that you find define a hero?
Uh, I would say like caring for others. You know, putting others first before themselves. But
Yep.
other than that, yeah, that's all I would think of.
All right. So this is a fun one. If you had a superhero that relates best to you, who would that be and why?
That's tough because I'm a big Marvel nerd. So that's a it's a lot to pick from. Man, mm, I would say Iron Man. Now I'm not doing that to be I'm not doing that to be braggadocious or anything, but it's more like I try to I I'm really good at, you know, thinking out scenarios of problems or, you know, future problems that we might have and trying to attack them early rather than waiting till they happen, you know. So I would say like predicting outcomes and uh what could possibly go wrong, what could possibly go right. That's one of my strong suits. So I mean, that's just what I think of when I think of Iron Man. Not so much the armor and stuff, more of the the brains, you know.
Yep, the mind. Yep.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you started your entrepreneurship journey at a pretty young age. So
Mhm.
for other younger entrepreneurs out there, what's a golden nugget that you can throw out there for them if they're just starting out?
If they're just starting out, I would say don't limit yourself. So, like one thing that I tried to be an example for, like my younger nephews and stuff. Growing up, I was like 8th grade is when I first was like, I'm never gonna work for anybody. I'm gonna work for myself. You know. Obviously, when I turned 18 and got out of high school and went to college and then stopped doing that, I figured out that I had to work for somebody to, you know, make some money for a living. But going back to that, as early as 8th grade, I was already trying to do photography. I was doing videography. Um, I was creating logos for people. I was doing a lot of things in the digital media space, but I was also doing personal training through my dad's gym. You know, I was trying to find different things to just make money. And then come freshman year, I started cutting hair, and it was just like a
Oh
friend's,
wow!
and then I was just practicing on one friend in his grandma's garage, and then that turned into me actually like really killing it cutting hair. And then, you know, as early as I want to say junior year, maybe no, like a junior senior year, like barbershops were approaching me to cut hair for them. So I went to like ended up working for like 2 different barbershops for a while, and that's just not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I started diving more into the digital space, and my main thing that I ended up like focusing on was graphic design. So I ended up doing. I was fortunate enough to make good connections even in high school. So I like would be doing graphic design work for companies like Pi Five and some fitness companies local in Kansas City that I just do either you know uh, logos for their T-shirts, or if they had like promotions coming up, I'd make the posters, flyers for them. And so I just got really deep into the design aspect of things.
That's awesome. So
But
yeah, it's unique how you've always had that. I think all entrepreneurs, you already had it as a kid, right?
yeah,
Like I remember myself, I was selling like basketball cards, and I
yep,
think I sold everything as a little kid. You know, since I was probably 9 or 8. You
yeah,
know, I was selling candy. You know,
yep.
I it's part of who you are. It's in your
Oh wait,
DNA.
that's a great story
So
actually. You
it's,
just reminded me of something. I'm sorry to cut you off,
yeah.
but
Okay, go ahead.
the thing that caught me like the most in entrepreneurship. So like my dad, he's been an entrepreneur all his life. He's always, doing selling cars, doing all types of things to make extra money for himself other than his main job. And the thing that caught me the most, like that made me was like, I want to do my own thing. I want to work for myself. Was we had a business class in when I was in seventh grade, and they had a project where we had to pretty much find something to sell during lunch for all three lunch periods for the school. And I was just like, oh, crap, what could be the best like turnover for like the profits, you know? And so I was just like, oh, the easiest thing is donuts. So I went and I bought like 6 boxes of donuts, spent like $45 because it was like a discounted day. And then I took the donuts. I got to school. We were all on stage, like in lines, and there was like two other donut people, and I was like, no, and it was bad. And then I ended up going and buying their donuts from them, and then put them all on my table, and I ended up selling them like by I ended up selling some by the box, and then the rest were like $2 a donut, and I ended up coming up like over $120, and it was so like what the heck that my teacher was even like, who gave you $100 bill, you know? It was like, sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but that moment was like a moment that I was like, I like doing this, you know, the sales aspect of
Yep.
things. Yeah.
Yep. Instead of competing with them, you just buy them.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, since your company now does podcasts, what is the number one recommendation before we end the show today for someone that's starting out with podcasts? A lot of times when you do podcasts or live shows like that, it's like crickets, right?
Yeah.
So, what have you seen? How long does it take before people start seeing traction?
Uh, I would say the best approach to that is to bring people on the podcast that have notoriety already. And it doesn't have to be, a ton of notoriety, but they could be like just someone you grew up with that they're doing well for themselves now. They have their own business or whatnot, and you want to reach people through their audience. So I think when you're starting out, that's the most important part. Um, just making sure you have the right guests that are going to bring good attention to your platform as well. And also, it's tough because most people that want to start podcasts don't have the funds to do it the right way. But if you do have the funds, I would say the production, pay attention to that the most. So like for instance, my podcast picked up traction fast because we invested like 3 grand between the three of us that started it. We invested 3 grand and got good cameras. We got a good camera switcher. We got a good audio board, the best mics we could afford at that time. And we invested in our set. We got, plants, soundproofing the walls, all that good stuff. And we made it look as if we've been doing it for a long time. So like I would say that term fake it till you make it is a very important part in podcasting for sure.
awesome. Those are some great recommendations. So for those of you out there looking into doing podcasts, right, here's a pro. Contact Esai and reach out to him. What's the best way to connect with you, follow you?
You guys could follow us at No Solutions Productions on all social media platforms. If you want to reach out to me, maybe be a sponsor for one of the podcasts. And we actually are doing this thing where if a business approaches us wanting to be a sponsor, but we don't have a show that really fits their audience, we'll create a show for their audience. And that way they get a great return on their investment. And that's one thing that I did want to mention. Most people, when you hear, oh, sponsor a podcast, it doesn't really make much sense. They're like, that sounds like I'm just, looking for a tax write-off, but it's actually not. So like, for instance, our podcast, they're only getting, hundreds of views on YouTube, but through social media, they're getting tens of thousands of views. So the reach that you have through these platforms is insane. And big companies have been taking advantage of this for the past 10 years. And it's so much to where some companies are paying $25,000 to $125,000 for just one episode of sponsorship, because that's how great the reach can be. And so I would say, like, if you would like to sponsor a show or have a show made for your company, then reach out to solutions@nosolutionsproductions.com and we could get things rolling.
Yeah, and we have it on the screen, so Gino just put it up. Contact them, nosolutionsproductions.com. And Esai, it's great having you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.